Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Dialogue with the Youth on Gunjur Online TV. Once again, we are back today, Wednesday, 15th of September 2021. The time in United Kingdom in Leeds is about nearly 7 o'clock now, 3 minutes to 7 o'clock. The time in the Gambia is about 3 minutes to 6 o'clock. We are back again in greetings to all of you all over the world. We are here to discuss about the current affairs, happening in the Gambia. There's a lot happening there, and we are approaching to elections, so whatever is happening, we need to come and analyze it. And there's nobody who can do that analysis, better than Sulayman Ben Suwareh, who is going to be my guest today. We have to thank Ben for his consistency, one, his candor, two, his ability and extraordinary grasp, and definitely his unyielding energy. You will think that sometimes he don't work. All he's doing is to come on Facebook and talk about Gambian issues without bias. And so welcome, Mr. Suwareh, to Dialogue with the Youth on Gunjur Online.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim, for your kind words. Good afternoon, listeners, viewers, present and future viewers. We are back again on Facebook Live.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Brother Ben. Once again,
if you just give me 1 minute, I forgot to pick something up. 1 minute.
Oh, that's fine. Once again, we are not flattering, but, throughout consistently, been years and years and years, those who are joining the struggle, now might not see Ben, even before, long time ago back, he was on social media to analyze issues that are happening in the Gambia, and without bias, these are Gambian issues that need to be analyzed so that people can know facts, and he's a mole, he goes everywhere and get information and share with Gambians. So once again, today also, we are here to discuss the current affairs of this country, before election, that's pre-election time, so that Gambian this time around, they can vote, for the interest of the country, not individual. Mr. Ben, welcome back. We are going to start with the APRC or NPP quoting the APRC, and to many of us, this is a security risk, and all the risks, that just going to emanate from this partnership. The victim's voice is ignored, the TRRC is ignored, but a lot of people are saying, we have to do this because we have to maintain peace and forgive and move on and all those things. Mr. Suwareh, you've talked a lot about these things, and you wrote a lot, and we are going to quote some of the quotations of Abakari Tombong and see whether this is peace building. Is Jammeh in the middle of all this? Is Jammeh outside this? Is it Because we are seeing, you're right, you said the presentation of cars to APRC region chairman to upkeep, so cars is going out, and Barrow is also giving some ex-Jammeh officers, offers, might be before probably post-election if he wins. So, we want you to shed some light on what is happening so that we can know. And from there, we move on to other topics. Welcome back.
Thank you, Ivana. I think our last program, we actually talked about this episode of APRC and NPP issue. And it seems we are right on the money. Exactly what we said, that's what transpired. The executive members of the APRC, they went into coalition or whatever arrangement they have. Because we don't even know what arrangement it is, because we have not seen any document to say this is the arrangement. And we have heard both the APRC making claims and the NPP making counterclaims. It's interesting that you get married to someone and your partner is coming out to say, no, it's just a civil partnership. It's not a marriage. Or, it's not up to that. We are not going to consummate the marriage. We're just having a relationship. This is what is coming out of this. But the fact here is, and I keep on reminding Gambians, Yaya Jammeh have been negotiating with this government since the death of his mother, with the help of Equatorial Guinea and Guinea-Conakry, Alpha Conde, and the family of Yaya Jammeh's wife and another Gambian lawyer who was involved. As far as I know, on the side of Yaya Jammeh, it's only one Gambian who was involved in the negotiations for Yaya Jammeh, someone who was looking after the interests and the legal implications. The entire team of Yaya Jammeh was nothing to do. No single member of the APRC was involved in this negotiation. And I said this, that negotiation failed. And this was part of the reasons Barrow visited Conde in Equator, in Guinea-Conakry a couple of months ago. It failed because the demands that Yaya Jammeh made could not be fulfilled, which are his freedom, which are assets return, and the guarantees that to follow. It could not be fulfilled by the government. Barrow cannot fulfill that. What Yaya Jammeh was dealing with, and from there on, but we knew, and I said here, there was a parallel negotiation going with Barrow, being represented by Sidin Jai, the SISDG, and other members of the NPP cabal, with Fabakari and the APRC, some of the APRC executive. That's been going on for a while. And that started from the undermining the leadership of Emeba, and Fabakari took over, and that's where it went on with Sidin Jai. And finally, because Barrow was, hedging his bets, if it had Yaya Jammeh on board, fine. If not, let him try and steal the APRC, grassroots from Yaya Jammeh. But he did not realize that Yaya Jammeh have a mechanism in place to have control over. That's why people are not hearing Yaya Jammeh. Yaya Jammeh is applying those control mechanisms in order to get control of the executive, the grassroots of the APRC. Then, what have happened finally? Barrow went advances and gave out some of the things that they agreed upon. I mean, the executive of the APRC, what they agreed upon on Barrow giving them back their vehicles, Barrow fixing those vehicles, Barrow giving them money and everything like that. That happened. And when that happened, then Barrow realized very lately that actually these people don't have the influence that he thought they have with the party. They cannot bring the party with them without the Yaya Jammeh. But Barrow knew that he cannot get the Yaya Jammeh on board. What next did Barrow do? Miscalculation. They went and reached out to some members of Jammeh's family. But these members are people who are already fallen out with Jammeh. The likes of Pabuja, in order to have a resemblance of Jammeh support on the deal. Now, how can a party have an agreement and the leader of the party is not part of the agreement? How can a party have an agreement and that MOU is not shared by the public and it's not shared to the members? I mean, it's just a scam.
It's crazy.
And now they're struggling. Now this marriage is struggling because I keep on saying that the APRC members are citizens. They can join any party they want. But the AP as an entity is something we should not condone because it was the political wing of the dictatorship. You see, in the United Kingdom, Jerry Adams was silenced in the media because it was the political wing of the IRA.
Yeah.
Until we come onto the good government and trying to work on the Good Friday agreements, that's when they started to hear them. But still now, the problems are not finished. We have learned from history that you cannot go for reconciliation without justice. It does not work. It does not work. It undermines the foundation of society, where people are not held responsible for crimes they committed. How can you justify locking up people who have not killed anyone and releasing people who have killed? How can you justify that in a society? Where's the justice? You see, what we have now is just a proof of the desperation of Barrow and to entering himself. He'll do anything. Now we have seen the proof of money exchanging hands. They pump in so much money into the politics in order to buy the people. But that money should have gone to our health service. That money should have gone to our schools. That money should have gone to a lot of problems we have in that country. But those things are not prioritized. Right now, every priority is what will keep Barrow to govern. And this undermines the peace and stability of our country. You see, people keep on taking, if you want to take an example where it works, not failures. In Sierra Leone, they have their TRRC, but they have a special court that makes sure, and that special court, in fact, we have Justice Jani, who is from the Gambia, was sitting on the special court.
Yes.
And people were persecuted. We have, what you call it, in Rwanda, up to today, they are going after perpetrators of this genocide. You see, and the people coming out with the example of Ghana, that's the biggest injustice towards Gambia. An insult to Gambian collective intelligence. Let's look at the issues. What's the population of Ghana? And what's the population of Gambia?
Yeah.
We have today, the ambassador of Senegal admitting that they have 500,000 Senegalese in the Gambia.
Yes.
Now, that have deducted that their Gambian population, or the Gambians, are less than 1.5 million. Because if you take 500,000 Senegalese, how many of are Guineans and other nationals?
Exactly.
Now, the crime that happened in the country, we have to remember, Yahya Jammeh did not depose a military regime. Rawlings deposed a military regime. Rawlings, Hillary Man and every other thing was not a democratic regime.
No.
You see, and Rawlings was actually prosecuted himself. Rawlings was in prison to be executed. The mindset of that person coming back and taking over, and how he dealt with those issues, those are not the examples Gambians should be looking at. And if you look at the examples of Gambia, in Ghana again, Rawlings have achieved, and Rawlings voluntarily really, gave back power. He did not even run for elections, and nobody conditioned him for that.
Yes.
He realized the time was ready for him to give up power. And that's why his party is still sustainable. His party have governed after him and is still going on, and is still the major opposition in the country, and nearly won the election the last time around again. You see, this is the difference. And another thing Rawlings did was, Rawlings was able to bring democracy in Ghana. Ghana did not have a history of democracy. From
No.
Kwame onwards, it's coup d'etat, coup d'etat, coup d'etat. He destabilizes the country. The time Rollins took over power, the country was completely bankrupt of corruption and everything else. They were starvation. He have achieved something, and Ghana was divided completely between Muslims and Christians, the north and the south. If Rollins was not a president, an effective president, what we see in Nigeria today would have been of Ghana. But he brought back respectability of Ghana. I am not excusing the crime he have committed. That was for Ghanaians to take care of, and Ghanaians have taken care of that properly. And Rollins have lived in the country peacefully and have left and still been celebrated. That's for Ghana. For Gambia, what we have is the country being turned around completely, 360 degrees. From the most stable, most peaceful to what we have now. For people be killed like chicken. It was not certain officers or certain people that have, no. It's not about people who attempted or not attempted, no. Innocent people been picked up in the middle of the night. Rape and every other thing. The insults and everything else. How can we just forget? How can we reconcile without even this? Look, we're talking about reconciliation. Have they actually asked for forgiveness?
No.
No. Then how can I forgive? How can I reconcile? You see, again, even the reparation they're talking about, where is it? Where's the government even contribution on that? All the money been splashed around. Where is the money recovered from Jammeh? Look, this government have just failed completely of this transition. Now, nobody should sell this as it's a peaceful solution. You know what the peaceful solution is?
Yeah, go ahead.
APRC is dying a natural death. And this is the beauty of democracy. I was never a fan of let's ban the APRC. Let's our behavior change the people. Let's treat them humanly. Let's treat them and show them what democracy is. Because it's our family. These are no strangers to us. It's our family members. And generally, the people that support APRC are not bad people. The people who benefit from their mysteries. They suffer as we are.
Yes.
They are not benefiting from anything we haven't benefited from. They've been terrorized as we've been terrorized. But the people so-called executive, they are the criminals. Now, this have proven that they never had any regard for Jammeh or anything about Gambia. Why did they support Barrow? It's because of the money given to them. Now, it's easy for Gambians now, as I said my last program, go and get the support of the people. Disregard APRC as an entity. Let them die a natural death. It's not something, a legacy that should continue. And then let's make sure we get them into our institutions, and that's where the peace is. Nobody, if they choose to go into political parties, let them be. If they think that they can sustain, I can tell you, the party cannot be sustained. It was all revolving around one person. Jammeh was the domestic dictator. Hosni Mubarak survived. His family survived, and his Rollins survived. His family survived because they were better dictators. As I said, I am not excusing the crime they committed, but that's for them and their people to deal with. What we have to learn is learn from them, but it's not to give us false narrative of what have happened there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, brother Ben. Once again, and we are back today, Wednesday. We are, doing an analysis on the current affairs of the Gambia. There's a lot of good things going on in the Gambia. There's a lot of false information, going around, and party politicking, all around the country. But this is the time for us to have partial people who have record, consistently for years and years and years, even before the Barrow government, to come and analyze and do a post-mortem on what is happening so that we can understand, the current issue, so that we don't make mistakes, that's going to jeopardize our country. The country is at stake now. People are divided. It's hugely polarized. We have to get this right this time around, not through emotions, to get the country on a trajectory that is going to benefit everyone. And I have welcomed my guest. I have Sirifo Sanya here. Say greetings to Brother Ibrahim, that's myself, and Brother Ben Suwareh. Thank you, Sirifo. And he said, for real, Sal Cham, welcome back. Greetings to you, Sal. He said, hello, Ben. And we have, Dorothy Jensen. Thank you for your words of wisdom. Masi Dabo, Mansi, my own sister, Mansi in Sweden, say hi, Ibrahim. Greetings to you. And Mr. Sanya, greetings, from Sal. Please, let's share this program so that it can reach out to many people, so that we can see we don't have to be bamboozled. Let nobody trick us here. We have to dissect things from word by word, sentence by sentence. And there's no Gambian, I'm telling you, no Gambian can better do that than Ben. Huge respect to you, bro. And please share the videos so that it can reach as many people as possible. We have brother Fabakar Tombonjata saying, and he say, we have agreed that Allah will in 2021, and we are able to succeed. For us, the light of this country, the beacon of hope, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yaya James Junkun Jammeh will be accorded the right with those living with him to come back peacefully to his home country. Fabakar Tombo, that's the interim. He said, for us, the TRRC report is best suited to the dustbin. Fabakar Jata, that's the interim government leader of the APRC. Is he deluding himself? That he is communicating with Jammeh, because I know we have another dimension. Jammeh's issue is not only local; it has an international dimension. Moreover, Senegalese in the Gambia, we are going to come there. They are there. We know no matter what the ambassador says, we know the geopolitics of the region, and you made a fantastic analysis of that. We are going to come there. So is he deluding himself, or is he deluding the APRC supporters and the country that he is in fact representing Yaya Jammeh? What he is doing is for the sake of Yaya Jammeh. But that's not true, Mr. Ben. Do you agree?
Ibrahim, you see, this is the point why I raised the issue about Jerry Adams being silenced. How can this government allow, President Barrow allowed, to have on his platform someone that disregarded his program of transition? The TRRC is a major mechanism of the transition. Now, this guy is coming out on your platform saying that he completely going to disregard and saying that the TRRC reports will be disregarded. Did the president come out to condemn it?
No, not at all.
No. Now, if people believe that the president want to do is what's going to do, how can you stop the people from believing that? Secondly, too, is he's not delusional. He's a fraud. He's a fraud because he himself. If you know what these people say behind the scenes about Jammeh, they have never loved Jammeh. They were scared of Jammeh. They were opportunists. They wanted to benefit from the loot that Jammeh was looting, because Jammeh gave them something that they would not have been in a normal position. This is why they're important. And they know that after Jammeh, they cannot be important. But now someone else made them important, they will obviously jump onto the chance. This is what Gambians should understand. These people are not honest people. They are not courageous people. Look, who is stopping Yaya Jammeh from coming to Gambia? Nobody. Yaya Jammeh can fly to Gambia, but Yaya Jammeh knows why he's not flying out of Equatorial Guinea. Gambians should ask ourselves, why did Yaya Jammeh choose Equatorial Guinea? It's to buy more time, because it would have been quicker if he had gone to different countries that are signatory of the international, ICC. Because you remember Guinea-Conakry? He had opportunity to go to Guinea-Conakry. Why didn't he? Not. He had an opportunity to go to Mauritania. Why he not? He had an opportunity to go to Morocco. Why he not? He went to a country, a despotic country again, where he knows that he will have a temporal peace. Yahya Jammeh knew that his peace is finished, just as Barrow have realized that his peace would be finished when he loses this election. That's why he's so desperate. Jammeh is nobody can negotiate that, and Barrow have made that clear to him. That's one thing I cannot guarantee. And Jammeh knew that. And probably before election, Jammeh might be in custody. We don't know that. Because we know that that in the international community, international civil society organizations are after him. We had a few months ago a report from United Kingdom.
Yes.
When civil society organizations, when Jammeh was sanctioned, they asked him for his head. We had recently from Ghana. And not only for human rights abuses. Remember, there were crimes that Jammeh committed. The smuggling of weapons.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, people don't understand the sovereignties that need Jammeh now. People don't know that even Israel are pursuing an investigation on Jammeh. The relationship with the Hezbollah and weapons that have been supplied to the Hezbollah and fired into Israeli territory. Jammeh has so much on his case. You see, Jammeh, it should not be, nobody, that's why we need to educate our people. There's nothing to hold on to the gentleman, that man actually, not a gentleman. There's nothing to hold on to him, apart from being the criminal he is to face justice. He is scared of the justice. If Jammeh was brave, courageous, Jammeh would have handed himself to the Gambian people and go through the justice system. And I'll tell you, we would have more problems if Jammeh said that he was going to volunteer himself.
Yes.
Because you see, but Jammeh would not do that because he wants to enjoy his temporal freedom. He knows where where things are going to end up, and things are not looking good for him. Now his ally Conde, it's taken into custody, and the family of Zuma Jammeh are running out of the country. These are the people that he relied on. Fabakary is saying all these things to try to entice the grassroots of the APRC. That's why we need to educate these people and liberate them and let them join the parties that they wish to join and be part of the process to take over our country and develop that country.
Yes, that's true. And I think I was exchanging with Lamin Tamba. That's what I told him. Jammeh is going to be no more in that country as a free man or in the wall. He is caged completely. And no matter what you said, the little lie that you say, the human right violation and the violation of leadership, is just, too much for Jammeh to have the freedom that they are dreaming of in the Gambia. Once again, today also we are here with Brother Ben and talking about issues that are happening in the Gambia. And not only that, but we know this is a pre-election time. There's all kind of misinformations, but Gambians cannot get it wrong for the third time because it's going to ground that country when we get it wrong. So some of these misinformations that are circulating from our own government, we have to debunk them. We have to analyze them, and make a real good post-mortem to give it to our people to understand that these are not facts. People can come and argue ideas, but when they want to lie and think we are stupid, we have Gambians who are capable to decode some of those things to our people. Once again, greetings, So Sal Cham says too much human rights abuses during his government. Jammeh should stay away from the Gambian people. And we have a Bamba Alaji. I say, I respect you two gentlemen. Mr. Ben, but, sadly, if any party, that will go against Jammeh's rules, especially he's coming back into the Gambia, we know that's not going to happen in peace anyway. But, for the PPP has suffered a lot excessively before UDP comes and all those things. And then Jawara has been toppled, his government has been lied on. It's just now that, some of us, we were very young then, we didn't know the impact of Jawara government. Now we are seeing the light. We know more now, and we yearn that we have him back. But to have the Keba Jallos, the OJs of PPP, saying that he has no problem with the alliance, arguing that the alliance between APRC and the NPP, arguing that in 2017 National Assembly and Council election, the PPP put up candidates throughout the country, half of which were APRC supporters. But what baffles me is said, the 1990 coup is even worse than the 1994 coup, because hundreds of people were killed and many people were taken to court and sentenced to death by Sadauda Kairaba Jawara. That is not true, Soli. I'm very sorry for Uncle Keba Jallo. Go ahead, Ben.
Very interesting. And also, let me say a disclaimer. Oye is my brother. Let me just say a disclaimer for people to understand that. And Oye is someone I worked with the last period of the struggle. I was greatly involved with a lot of activities he did. I was greatly involved with the supporting the PPP, just as I was supporting the UDP and any other, the PDIs and any other entity that was against what was happening in the Gambia. But saying it's a disappointment is an understatement. But again, we have to ask ourselves, why is this happening? But the best person to answer that thing is him, Oye. That's his legacy. Oye is dealing with his own legacy. If he thinks that he's right, I will tell him that that's not the perception, or that's not how generally people like me sees it. He's completely, finally, on the wrong side of history. And it's the same that is happening for someone who suffered so much under the
dictatorship.
Yeah. But we have to remember something. We as individuals and as leaders, once we are leaders, we are no more individuals. We represent the people. And our views are views that we should really make sure represents the people, not the views that we think are comfortable for whatever reason, but views that are right for the people, based on facts, based on logic, based on science. If we even have beliefs that are against the beliefs of the people, we keep those beliefs with us and worship in within our own. Why do I say this? For Ojo to champion himself as a victim and thinking that because he said he forgave and putting it boldly the way he's doing and disregarding what other people feel, that's disrespect to the victims, disrespect to society, because fundamentally society does not work like that. Society should not, and Islam does not promote impunity. Society should not promote impunity. That's why we have law and order. That's why we have a justice system. You cannot tell me that you're going to disregard the justice system. You can't tell me you have to promote impunity. For the interest of who? Are we not in a democracy? I might say that this is my views, but overwhelmingly my supporters, overwhelmingly my people hold this, and this is the right thing, because what my people are asking for is justice. And it's offensive to turn around to say that, equating justice and revenge. Because I am not saying that he's ignorant. He's not ignorant to that fact that they are two different things. But it's dishonest to say people like me, because I take it, that's because I call for justice, just as millions of Gambians call for justice. If you say that we want revenge, that's an insult to us. What we ask for is for justice. The same justice in Islam asks for. The same justice asked for in our laws. I'm not even, in this case, I'm saying what the law book says. What society says. People do it all are responsible. It's dishonest as a leader to call for something that has not even been dealt with rightly. Yes, few people went to the TRRC and what asked for forgiveness. Few. But the institutions that represented them, did they ask for this for forgiveness?
No.
Did he wait for the reports? For reports to determine that as a leader? He should have, because what's the point of the TRRC then? If we are going to preempt the TRRC and do what as we wish, say that, okay, let's just forgive. Now, what's the point of the TRRC report as a leader? How can he think like that? And for him to say that some of his candidates, as I said, individuals supporting APRC and decided to leave APRC and join another entity, depends what that individual have done in the time of supporting APRC. If they have committed a crime, if they have committed a crime during the support of APRC, they should be held responsible.
Yes.
If they have been morally bankrupt in the time of supporting APRC, they should be morally held accountable. That's my position. That's why until certain people come out and apologizes, I don't even have a Facebook friend with them. Certain people. I don't want to make it about them, just to give you an example. Now, these people, to give an example, that some of our candidates have been APRC. That doesn't hold water. What does that say? They are citizens of the Gambia. If they were qualified to be MPs, that depends. If they have committed crime, they should be prosecuted. If they are morally bankrupt, that's no wonder they cannot win any other seats apart from the seats campaigning under an umbrella of Tahawal Banjul. That tells why they could not win seats. Now, let me come to the 81. Can you remind me what he said about 81 again? Please.
Yes, I'm gonna say it. He said the 1981 coup was even far worse than the 1994 coup because hundreds of people were killed and many people were taken to court and sentenced to death. But Sadauda Khairaba Jawara, being tolerant and peaceful, released all of the prisoners. But even before that, he said the PPP, which should be the group most offended by the AFPRC and AFPRC and APRC because of the coup in 1994. But we stand for peace and always welcome anything that will bring peace. That's what he said.
Okay, first, you see, that's why I'm saying that I know that he's not talking out of ignorance. He's talking out of dishonesty.
Yes.
He is using the 1981 coup and the 1994 coup. Coup is a coup. That's a constitutional issue. That you depose the constitution, you throw out the constitution, the wishes of the people, you force yourself on the people. Yes, the 81 was attempt, and it was bloody from the day on. But 1994 was a continuous of 22 years. Now, where's the comparison here?
No.
That 81 was worse. You see, yes, 1981, people died. But who was at fault here? It wasn't PPP.
No.
It was Kukoi and his gang.
Yes.
And many people died for different reasons. Some people died from accidents caused by the coup. Some people died because of they've been shot. But again, that was 1981. But this was squash, and that's where, and some families still live with that because they lost their parents or their loved ones. But the country recovered from then on. You see, the damage done by this 1994 coup to now is an everlasting damage that no Gambian can actually, no family will completely disinform. Not only the dead. Look, that's why are we talking about reforms? Why are we talking about all these programs we're talking about? Gambian society have been torn around completely. Now, these are problems more deeper than 1981. But again, a contradiction here, or again, or a deception, because he should know better. He mentioned that they were taken to court. Are we not calling for them to be taken to court?
Yes.
Rule of law and
Yes.
justice.
Yes.
Are we? Who did we hear anybody call for? Let us go and hang them? No.
No, nobody.
We
Yeah.
call for justice. And Sadauda, in fact, Sadauda, and you see, that's why when I talk about passionately about PPP, that's the sad thing about it. Because if yes, they made a lot of mistakes that even brought us here, but the contributions of PPP is not being celebrated. Sadauda, it's the model of Sadauda bringing a hybrid court to deal with the almost 2,000 people who were arrested and taken through, cases investigated and taken through the courts. And members of opposition and different things, some of them were exonerated and freed out of the courts.
Yes.
Some were sentenced different things. But they served time. And during the course of serving that time, people have healed. At least they have seen justice. Then Sadauda took it onto himself to pardon. Few people were pardoned. Others served their sentences. But did he mention that someone who was hanged?
No.
Mustafa Danso
Yes.
was
Yes.
hanged.
Yes.
You see, OJ might be selective. Justice was served. That's what we're asking for, justice. People, Patches and others were pardoned. Something Salah was pardoned.
Mm-hmm.
Many other people were pardoned. By the time of this, almost everybody was out of prison. Now, that's what we asked for. Let it go to the most culpable ones have to go through. How fair would it be to be, locking up, people for selling 2 bucks of jamba every day when killers are roaming the streets?
Definitely.
And you see, some of the crimes happening now. Did we do any study to see, not only because of their abuse and drugs, but what other things have led them to this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do we know some of the victims, children now, what they're going through? Do we know some of them have become very violent?
Yes.
Have committed crime, and nobody will tell you this. Because the reason I know is I'm involved with some of these things. You see, because extensively what we should have done, we have not done that. We don't even know. We haven't even known 15% of what we have not dealt with. Actually, 15% what has happened in the TRRC. No, that's the failure that we have. We're talking about victims. We don't even know how much damage was done to the victim. That's why it's disrespectful, it's tasteless, it's disappointing for members of the PPP to stand and champion that and to just make it easy because your life have changed today. You forget about everything that happened. You might. You see, people are different, but people still suffering, continue suffering, and will never recover for their lifetime. Want to see justice, and probably seeing that justice will help their recovery.
Yeah, that's true. It is really out of order to come and debunk the TRRC. If you have Fabakari, the like of Fabakari Tombon Jata, who are saying, the TRRC report is best suited to the dustbin. Even the report is not out yet. When numerous of people have been killed deliberately for doing nothing, for just contradicting Jam. People have been raped and all those things. No reparation. Nobody is talking about it. No justice so far. And you say, let's forget about that. Let's do everything white.
We still have disappearing people.
Exactly. People are disappeared still. We don't know where the chief man is and all those things. The Daba man is, the Fodema Carlos and all those things. Nobody knows where they are. The dead bodies are being refused to come to be buried in the Gambia, because of Jammeh's ego and all those things. And still, everybody is just saying, let's forget about that. Nobody's even mentioning about the victim, the myriad of victims, the ones we know and the ones we didn't yet know. So it's just crazy. Ben, you talk about the youths. Anyway, before we go, greetings to Abla Mbai and greetings to Sal. Sal says, he was 7 years old, back in, when PPP was there in 1981. But the best thing is, to be ignorant of your history, you will going to remain a child. The best thing is, the young people need to now read. He said he didn't like Jawara's government. I didn't like them then, because of, what people were saying around me. Not what I understand. But now what I did is to read back and see how fortunate we were, and the trajectory of the country that time, even Gambians, their talents. Why are we all in UNs and all those things? Those are products of Jawaras and all those things. You can go on and on and on and on. My namesake, Pa Ibrahim Abba of Aisamari, he's married to my aunt, so they named me after him. When he came here, all this Bruce B project, the flyovers and all those things, they had them. And he told me he was the head of that project, to design them and all those things. So knowing what I know today and reading what I read about that government, I am proud to have that government, to build a foundation. We didn't have any coup d'etat. We didn't have any militarism during Jawaharlal time. When even Ghana, Nigeria, the ones that we celebrate today are in coup d'etats and coup d'etats and coup d'etat. That's the stability of the Jawara government. But we have 222 days now, 223 today, 3 tons of cocaine, 900 blocks of hashish, consignment of synthetic drugs. No update from NDEAG, Barrow, the Interior Minister, nobody else. But what you said here is important. The drug epidemic is not only within the disadvantaged youths in poorer communities, those that usually involved in thieves and violent crimes, but it consumed by a large number of young men and women from affluent backgrounds, and having a huge effect on productivity at the corporate level and fueling the white-collar workers, as it is very expensive habit. Rise of armed robbery and minor crimes.
Call your mom. Yeah, sorry about that.
But we have now the crime rate and drug. This is so important. We cannot close our eyes about the injection and the cascading of all kinds of drugs in that country. Now the impact is coming. Armed robbery. People are killing each other. Youths are killing each other. And we all know they are, and now you said something which is important. The sophistication in the recent major crimes committed has shown evidence of professionalism, one, which indicate the perpetrators are from either abroad or has security experience, and the arrests made on violent crime has shown evidence of heavy involvement of Gambian youths that appear to be under the influence of illegal substance. Are we surprised here, Mr. Ben? Go ahead.
No, we are not surprised. You see, and it's sad a country when we take approach and we don't put I mean, I don't know, like when they started talking about Operation Zero Crime and all those things, where did they base what information did they work with? You see, physical policing is not the solution only. It's part of the solution. And as I said, if we didn't deal with the drug importers, the major drug dealers, if we do not deal with the security sector reforms, Ibrahim, the crime would not be solved. Crime would not be solved. You see, example in South Africa, recently when the things started to flare up again, because of the reforms are not successful. Society, people don't choose just to be criminals. We might perceive that, you just choose to be a criminal. There's an underlying problem out there, especially when it comes to that level. Let's point out one: the sophistication of the crime. Remember let me start counting. The Joshua one, the most recent, about 12 million, they say.
Yeah.
Still now they haven't arrested one person.
No.
Ibrahim, if that person is not from someone who have operated in Europe, very sophisticated, or from security background, how comes? How comes those people are not arrested? Not even one. Two, there was a case that Justice Barr, I'm Fatou Barr, I know the first name,
Yeah.
who have a PIU guards arm, and these people managed to get into her bedroom and held her hostage and took everything and left. Still now no arrest. Remember, there was another case of allegedly $20 million from the money transfer bureau.
Yes. Yes.
That in Sukuta, still now no arrest.
No arrest. Yes.
Yeah, and I might forget some of these things because they're so frequent. They were so frequent. What did that tell us? They are sophisticated operators. What? Either they are from Europe or they might be from people that have left the armed forces or even active in the armed forces. How would we know that? Because we haven't got a mechanism to do things right. The amount of people leaving the armed forces, amount of people being discharged or dismissed in the 2 decades is approximately 4,000 in that small population. And 80% of those people are struggling inside the Gambia because they were not prepared into civilian life. This is what we needed, part of the security sector reforms. When we talk about security sector reform, it's not a head of the institution. We're saying that institution should be part of our national development. They have a role to play, a very critical role. Now we come to the drugs. This is evidence. Most of the crimes, like violent crimes happening now, you'll be surprised are not foreigners. There are 90-something% Gambians.
Yes.
And they are youths.
Yeah.
And almost all of them are under the influence of drugs. These are facts. Now, if you want to deal with that problem, did you look into why youths are getting into crime? Did you look at youths accessing drugs? And these are the solutions. That's where the solutions will come from. But to go and bring out more police, to go and arrest more, it doesn't stop it. You are not stopping the supply. You are not stopping the supply. You are not creating a mechanism to inform the youths. You're not creating a mechanism to empower the youths by make sure they do well in school, or if they leave school, they go and learn skills and do something. You see, this is a fact, and now it's getting violent. Imagine most of this crime now. Youths are breaking into people's houses knowing that the occupants are there. You think someone sober would do that? The youths are attacking people not even late in the night, broad daylight. But they know that there's no response. They can do it and get away with it. These are not isolated areas. This is Senegambia. This is Palmarima. There was a video showing Palmarima Johnson how youths have taken over there. And we said we have a police force. What's the problem? It's a failure of security reform, but it's a failure of governance.
It is. It's important to read what Bamba Alaji is saying. He says, I am in the Gambia right now, but when you look, our mentality is very sad. No health cares, no road, no road agriculture, but still some of us did not see that. This represents government is not competent. I don't see only hope for them. And two, many criminals right now in our country, foreigners control everything. Chinese are distorting our lands and destroying our land and the rivers, and our government didn't care. But this is sad. I'm telling you, because the implication of this security sector reform, I think, is fundamental.
Yes.
In anything in the Gambia, because it's going to have a big impact on the economy. It is going to have a big impact on youth, because when these youth, the kids, start taking drugs, they will not take responsibility. The women are going to be there with no men and all those things fluttering, and all of the implications is so huge. If security is not there, anybody, even us who are here, with our shiny clothes and all those things for always, you are going to be robbed. You are likely going to be killed because this is somebody is in the influence of drug. But when we have the Gaj, importing, about, automatic rifles and hunting guns in the country, nothing happens. We have Lebanese cocaine seized in 2019 in July by the company called Roller Food Company Limited. Tons and tons of drugs, But then the woman, the young lady that came and vehemently, condemned the drug and all those things has been removed.
Yeah,
Has been removed for no reason at all, just to come and speak, and also we have the Bandaketa, the CISO of 3 tons of cocaine. Only the Bandaketa who ran away and Sirfunjai, the nobody, was arrested and still nothing happens. Nothing at all. We have the Moroccan hasses also. So you have cascade and rivers of cocaine flowing in that country.
And remember, this is what is detected. This is what is detected.
Those are what is detected.
And undetected, it's just like an iceberg. You see the tip of it. You just see the tip, but you don't know what holds it, whether it holds it down or not. But in this case, this is what just detected. And this detection was not even due to the efficiency of the agency. One, it was the laborers that detected the Lebanese cocaine. 2, the Bantaketa was the international drug law enforcement, which is not normal. The hashes too, a compromise happened somewhere. But we don't even hear the case is going to court. Case of the hash is going to court. We didn't heard about that.
No.
About that. Now, a government that have never tried, and no single case of corruption, no single case of serious crime. And we are wondering why this crime is rising up, because they know they will get away with it. The government is compromised.
Yeah, definitely. Security sector reform is so important. We cannot fight crime without fighting the underlying issues of crime. What is causing crime? The poverty, the frustration of youth with those energies, and they cannot turn. We have to harness those energies and use it as a fuel of, for the growth of our country. But no, we are not doing that. Money is being spent unnecessarily. Money is being dished out to the APRC people who have maltreated Gambians, and they even betray Jammeh. We can see the Rambos and all those things, giving $10,000 to somebody and promise to give $100,000 and all those things. But in the middle of these things, where is Dr. Samate? You ask, you say no comment. I promise you all, the good, dedicated individuals like Safarman Singate, Dr. Sise, Dr. Kurang, Dr. John, they've been through, and they were in charge of the Royal Victoria Hospital. But now, then, we saw the filth, the embarrassment for any government that have a little bit of consent of our hospital, the toilets. I know this because I had information of the toilets, women giving bath and they go to toilets, there's no water there, the blood is all over the place. We have to say this. These are serious things, but we have to say it. He said, I blame the government, for who is in charge of this place. We like to blame the government, but who is in charge? And that's Dr. Samadi. And now we see them now parading in front of so-called Range Rovers. Even gloves, you have to buy it outside. Needles, you have to buy it outside. Of recent, a family member of mine was heavily pregnant, because we are so scared. We have to organize people to test them. They have the same blood group to be on standby.
Yeah.
To be on standby so that see if she has any problem. So this is what is happening. We've been talking about this, and you've been asking about Dr. Samade. Where is this Dr. Samade? And now, Ben, tell us about those ambulances, the so-called ones that we saw there.
Let me start with that post about Dr. Samate. Because again, Dr. Samate is a younger brother to me. We are all from Bakau. We went to the same school, was in the same class with my younger sister. I was in the same class with his elder brothers. We are family. You see, I remember when he was appointed, I said, for knowing the family he comes from, is only good thing I expect of him. But even his appointment, I was not supportive. I said, I'd rather he stays in clinical than going into this. I don't think he have the experience to administrate. That's what my point is. You don't have to be a medical doctor to run the health ministry. I said that. But my disappointment is here. Look at those toilets. Those Dr. Samati don't know that those toilets exist. If he did not know, he failed because he practiced in the hospital. How much does it cost to renovate those toilets? And you see, he knows the implications. Infection. If you cannot have that right, what would you have right, my brother?
No, definitely.
Nothing. That's now, if we keep on asking what's wrong with why people are dying, that's it there. These are the reasons why people are dying. The other point you touch on, how can a country not have a blood bank system? God forbid today we have a natural disaster. You think we'll have time to let's go and you see? No. How can a hospital operate without a blood bank system? How safe it is our even blood we given back because the process it should go for it to get to the patient. Are they testing this properly?
No.
How can we not have a? You see, during the Jawaragov time, we have a the blood bank system where people go regularly to donate. It was unheard of to hear that there's no blood. People are willing to give, but there's no mechanism to receive money this donation. I mean, national appeal could be done. Institutions can be appealed to send their members, healthy members, to go and donate. All these things can be done. We should not have a problem of blood because people are willing to give blood. But your loved one goes, now they have to be putting it on Facebook, people running around looking for a certain, that's this, for how long? That only happened in a national emergency. But this is not a national emergency now. If, God forbid, if you have a national emergency, what's going to happen?
Definitely.
Then he did completely fail. Now, about the ambulances, let me explain this. Because what happened first?
Ben, I'm going to read what you said is both Barrow and Dr. Samate deliberately selling a fake story on providing the ambulances. Mm-hmm. Check what both of them said to the press. Yeah. They failed to mention the donor agencies and they are insinuating providing the ambulances. That's question mark. Why do the press fail to ask the basic question when reporting the news instead of acting as a PR agents? But before coming to you, I have Moduketa here. He said before any reconciliation, the APRC bandits should accept their deeds first, then justice be served, then reparation follows, and finally reconciliation. But the APRC denies all these charges and are showing no sign of remorse, and this is really a pain. Yes, it is painful, Gambia. And I have my brother here, Jesus Masi, say greetings to you, my brother. Good job, Mr. Jane and brother Ben. And Gigi Gano also said drug squad should be banned. And before coming to you also, I have Benny Ibrahim Ike, and you say one of his quotes on the 9th of September. He said, so you call the ambulances. They take you to the hospital, but you first need to go to the pharmacy to buy the nurse's glove, hand sanitizers, soaps, protective gears, and the medicines you need. And so you need a blood transfusion, make sure to bring along people who can give blood and a fridge also to store the blood. Also ask them to pick up a generator at MP Trading or some other stores so that you have electricity in case you need to get operated. NAWEC might cut the electricity to the main hospital. Also, don't forget some extra fuel to the generator. And by the way, you might need the fuel to make sure the ambulances actually make it to the hospital. So congratulations, folk. You have a couple of ambulances. This is the highest priority for the healthcare sector. Incompetent people looking for cheap political point. Fantastic. Some of everything, really. Some of everything. Go ahead with the ambulances.
Now, what I said here is, someone sent me the Twitter handle of a lady working for the UN systems and reporting, and the lady too just reported they did a procurement, yeah, for the health service of 80 ambulances. Now, this is complete. Procurement means to buy. The lady did not say who paid. It was not clear. Now, when I went and looked at the story of the ambulances, both Dr. Samate and Barrow did not mention the line budget access for this, did not mention anything, just say that they provided. And I know that they were insinuating that they provided this by the will of Barrow. They politicizing the issue. Now, when I brought both posts together, this thing, the news cut out and the what the lady have posted, and that's why I put the question mark. And I'm glad that you pointed to the emphasize on the question mark.
Mm-hmm.
I was making emphasis to question what is the deal here. I remember that there was I mean, we voted for extra budgetary this thing for this thing, and I said it was the wrong thing to do. Now, why did they not report that the UN systems? I thought they were a donors agency. The UN system procure this amendment on behalf of the Gambia government and taking from the line. But I hold the journalists accountable as well. Why do you only run with what you've been given? If you look at that thing, why did you ask Mr. President or Doctor, I mean, who paid for this? What, I mean, how it was a procure? These are the details that we need to know. Who paid for them? But the president said, as I promise. You see, that word, as I promise, is as he promised to give it to us. Mm-hmm. Now, the voters need to know that their money is being spent this way. And how, I mean, and this is very important. That's why I wrote the post. But coming to your position about the ambulances is, I mean, it's just clear. It's about politicization. They want to go around showing these ambulances or giving it out. Look, one question I asked, did they even train paramedics to deal with these ambulances?
Yes.
If the ambulances get to your house, yeah? And how would the ambulances get to your house? Is there any dedicated line that you can call and get the ambulances to come to your house? And again, just as they said, are they guaranteed that we're going to have fuel in the ambulances? This is not what is happening now. If we have 10 ambulances and we cannot fuel that, what about if we have 80 ambulances? You see, it's not the priorities. Now, if even you fuel the ambulances, you cannot demand an ambulance because you don't have a system in place to call for an ambulance. Okay, now even for magically an ambulance appeared. Who appeared with the ambulance? Did they come with a paramedic or a driver? Can they help you, give you the necessity first aid, probably to prolong you to hospital? No. Now, what's the point of that ambulance? You might be there and they get there, you die in their hands because they don't have a defibrillator to restart you. They don't have the skills to help you to this thing. They don't know the science, I mean, what to do for many other things that could help you. They don't know how to arrest the bleeding and other things. These are basics. I would have spent money to train more paramedics within the community. Local these things dealing with, look, you see, we used to have women that help delivery and other things, and we could have done a lot of things. But no, because they cannot show that off. For them, let the vehicle run and to be seen. That's why he's going around the tour, taking those vehicles with him. But it's not going to impact anything. If you cannot provide toilets in a hospital, a major hospital like RVTH, you cannot provide gloves, you cannot provide anything. Nothing, absolutely. It's just a politicization. It's not the priority. Doctors and nurses are not motivated. And you see, we should not allow any political party for that matter, or a government, just to come and make statements and get away with it. Especially a government coming to this. That's why I say it's dishonest. And I am disappointed from Dr. Samate. He should know better. He's a clinician. He should be a professional. He should not be allowed to be used by politicians. It's a failure.
It is a big failure, considering the amount of death in that hospital. The hospitals are death traps. People are scared to get pregnant. The woman told me now they are very scared to even get pregnant, because when you get pregnant, when you go to hospitals, and I had a news of somebody who preferred to give birth at home, which is no problem if there's anything, but he was so scared that they just put you into cesareans in the private hospitals just to get money. So she said, they will try at home, Lord,
It's good that you raised that. You see,
yes,
things are so much that we are only concentrated on the public health side, but the private too are killing people.
Yes.
And I have a sister that had to travel to Dakar and just to find out that she was misdiagnosed by the private hospital in the Gambia. She is paying insurance and everything. Her job is paying insurance, but she was not satisfied. She had to go for second opinion in Dakar, and she was misdiagnosed, and she would have died. She was pregnant. She would have died. You see, but if a government failed, all these people will open shop and be abusing our people.
Definitely.
And that's why this election should be a deciding one.
Yeah, definitely. The private sectors are not doing well, and people are dying there. They are charging people exorbitant prices, and people are dying there. And when things goes out of control to them, they send them to Royal Victoria or Serekunda Hospital when it is too late. So why do you go to the private sector, the private hospitals in the first place? So, but Mr. Ben, we need to move on, and yes, we saw the Senegalese ambassador, kind of, frustrated probably, even telling us, the economic forces, you are blaming now are the people who save you from Jammeh, in essence, and why are you complaining about only Senegalese, they are not the only economic soldiers in the country, and many things. But dealing with it, you petition into the effect of this failure of the security sector reform, but you said the ambassador should not be blamed. Tell us why. You said the Jammeh factor in armed forces. You delve on that also. You said the large turnover also, in the army, the disgruntled, the economic mission crept in. So you have these subheadings, which you dealt with. I want you to go into them and discuss of those. But before we go, I have Sal, thank you. You said the blood bank, should not be an issue. So much death during delivery, it should be a big concern. And our Keta, greetings to you, my wife, always with us in the program. Our Keta and Sal said we appreciate Senegal and Africa. Yes, but Ben, before we come to the Senegalese constructs and geopolitical strategy of Senegal, to dominate using their influences, and so we are going to come there. But this one is so important. You agree? You said the Senegalese ambassador should not be blamed. I know that's a little bit sarcastic, but go ahead. Go ahead.
As I said, Senegal should not be blamed. Ibrahim, every country have their national interest, and the government is voted in for their national interest. Now, if I am to look after the national interest of Gambia, I'll do whatever possible to make sure it's maximized. That's what I'm voted for. To protect my citizens and to make sure I create more wealth and security for their people. Now, Gambia should look after their national interests. Now, when we both sovereignties look after their interests, what will happen? We look after our mutual interests when we meet. That's where we should meet. But if you make yourself a lesser citizen or a lesser less significant than the other, you are going to the negotiating table with your hands tied at the back. Now, if you are responsible for my security of my house and everything, now if I can negotiate with you, what powers do I have to negotiate with? Nothing. Now, that's why I said the presence of economic, we should not blame Senegal for that. Presence of Senegalese troops in the Gambia, we should not blame Senegal for that. We should blame Barrow for failure of the security sector reforms. Ibrahima, what we inherited we could have released ECOMOG to leave the source of the Gambia within 6 months.
Yes.
What we needed was a security guarantee for 6 months. What I said is you need a momentum. That moment, we have a momentum. At that time, you can see they were all subdued. It's a psychological, and reforms is leadership led. If we have come with the reforms and do A, B, and C, then we would have been confident enough to allow our armed forces to participate in national development as they should. But because we failed to do that, now there's a fear, there's a perception of there's a risk still present. That's the only reason. ECOMIC is not there for the civilians. ECOMIC is not there for anything else but to act as a counterbalance to the Gambian armed forces. After 4 years, no open conflict. Who is to blame? Why we blame Senegal for this? Senegal have their national interest to look after.
Yeah, why not? Definitely.
Why not? Now, that was my point. And I will go through, just give you an example. When I talk about mission creep, where's the mission? I talk about ECOMOG mission creep. This happens, when you have foreign forces in a country for a long time, it turned out to be a mission creep. What happens is it brings out resentment within the nationals of that country and the foreign troops. It's a sovereignty issue. It's a nationalistic issue. And I'll point to the reasons why. And the contingent presence, the continued presence of ECOMOG and Senegalese contingent in the country after 4 years is a further evidence of the failure of the security sector reforms. Their presence is now posing as part of the threat to our national security. Instead of stabilizing force, it was mandated to serve. If you realize, I said the presence of ECOMOG and Senegalese contingent. What the ambassador did not do is to point that Senegalese troops are in the Gambia in two entities. One under ECOMIC, the other one there's a contingent in the phone under a separate command, under Senegalese command. Ibrahim, why that?
Exactly.
Why?
Exactly.
Why are they not under ECOMIC? And remember when that incident happened with killing that gentleman Jata or something?
Yes.
That's when, in fact, people like me knew that that contingent are not part of the ECOMIC command, because of the ECOMIC commander came out, spokesperson came and said, no, it's nothing to do with us. It's not under our command. You see, there is untruth into their statements. They have national interest. And Ibrahim, tactically, I'll tell you, and I am confident to say that, I've been a strategic analyst for a long time. There is no tactical reason to station those people there, to have a forward operational base within. It doesn't even make military sense. It's intimidating. It's not even good to conducive for the society. Where is the threat? If we are not here in conflict within Casamance, and if that's the case, they have many areas in Casamance to put their forward operational base. Why can't they leave Gambians to operate on that lines? And I'll move on again. The foreign troops present have rendered the armed forces of over 7,000 personnel feel completely useless and more disgruntled, leading to getting their morals to hit rock bottom. Over 7,000 soldiers. You are sending these soldiers to ECOMIC for peacekeeping missions, but you are not trusting them to serve their own country. Definitely. Over 7,000 soldiers sitting doing nothing, and they've seen their counterparts that they're operating with in other countries looking after them, babysitting them. It continued to say, as they know the presence of the ECOMIC troops is serving as a counter force to check them. The foreign troops were just supposed to serve as a short period as a stabilizing force, and it has even led to the soldiers that welcomed them earlier to feel disgruntled due to their continued presence. Even these Gambian soldiers that accepted the intervention now, I'll tell you, generally they are against the continued presence of ECOMIC. Then That's why I said that economic now is even started to pose as part of the threat instead of stabilizing force. Who is to blame for that? Because if we had the security sector reforms, we could have done in 6 months. I am not saying it will complete, but confidence would have been there for us to rely on our own men.
Yes.
It's not everybody in the forces was bad. The institution failed just as any other institution failed. But security is about the people. It's about leadership. Now we cannot leave the leadership intact and expect them to reform themselves. We cannot expect people that were part of the problem to resolve themselves. Look at the people leading the reforms. Look at the defense minister. Look at the interior minister. Who are these people? They are the same people. And now we wonder why we fail. And I move on. I said, the most provoking of this presence of economic is on Senegalese troops present at the State House and a separate contingent based in Fonyi. The reason why I said it, because the ambassador said, why are they not talking about other troops?
Yes.
I give, and remember, I wrote this a year ago. It's part of things I've written down and put my thoughts and put down. Nobody asked me to do it. It's my interest for national security. I've written this down. I put it down. When needed, I can present it. Now, this is the reason why we're not talking about Ghanaians and Nigerians. One, Senegalese are at the State House. What State House represents? That's where the seat of power is.
Definitely. Yeah.
Now, there's a separate contingent which is not part of ECOMOG in Fonyi. That's another having troops of another country which is next door to you. Ghana is not next door to you. Nigeria is not.
No.
You see, even if you come from the same mother and father, that's where the rivalry would be likely than the stranger. This is the natural fact.
Yes.
We are competing. Yes, we are family. We are everything, but we are competing. We have, interests that we compete from. We share the same market. We compete from. Now, another point I continue to say, it irritates the Gambian soldiers more than the presence of the rest of the other economic troops from the other nations, due to the State House serving as the office and residence of our sovereign leader and objecting to Senegalese stationing their troops in our sovereignty separate from the economic mission or under a Gambian command. It's not under a Gambian command.
No.
I furthermore said the behavior of some of these troops in these locations towards civilians and some soldiers raised tensions within the armed forces. You see, normally when I speak, I don't get into the details of some of these things, but we all know because they are reporting to us.
Yes.
We try to calm the situation. The way some of them behave towards the Gambian soldiers there are certain things I will not say because they are national security issues. In State House, you'll be surprised. They are acting as secondary citizens. You see? Now, what's the point of me guarding you and you don't trust me?
Definitely.
Then don't let them not be present there. And again, the way they see them treat certain civilians, if you see a foreign soldier treating your countryman in a certain way, it becomes
it will irritate you.
An issue. Again, I continue to say the behavior of these troops the social fraternization of the economic troops with our Gambian female and their financial affluence due to allowances they receive is raising nationalistic sentiments from Gambian men towards foreign troops, especially those, especially men from the security sector. This is a natural fact. During the Senegambia Confederation,
yes.
I actually written a report similar about the presence of Senegalese troops in the Gambia. You see, these things, what caused misconception, men are jealous.
Yes.
Men are naturally jealous, so much jealous. We talk about women jealous, men are worse, especially Gambian men. Gambian men, even a woman they don't want, and no other foreigner to be with them. And how good the foreigner is, they'll have a resentment. That's a natural thing with us. You see, and the affluent, It's not to, we are not blaming ECOMOG for that. But that's the fact though, because now if I am struggling as a Gambian soldier with $3,000, $5,000, but you staying in the Gambia, you can buy a car. I mean, you can buy goods, you can do this, you can do that, because of the allowances you receive. What it's causing is causing resentment. Now, if I sit in a barracks and seeing our beautiful girls going out with Senegalese or Nigerians or Ghanaians, I would not like it. That's what I'm not saying. Me, Ben Suwareh. But I'm saying generally, these other soldiers don't like that. They are seeing it as exploitation. They're seeing it as exploitation. Even though it's not, they're not forcing them, but it's exploitation. You see, these are the reasons. When the ambassador asked, these are the reasons. But we cannot blame Senegal for this. We blame our government. The government had the mandate to do this, but they failed.
Yes. Yes, great. Thank you, Ben. And this is a concern for us because there's an increasing tension here, and the ambassador, is choosing his words correctly, and we're not blaming them, but this is an impact that the Gambia is having. And you said, this is a ticking time bomb, and without the security sector reform, and the conditions of our army, they are hungry, they are not fed. The houses, the rooms that where they are, the camps are dilapidated and is dirty. And you see the counterparts from the ECOMIC who are almost overstayed their usefulness, and they having women, they're having luxuries, they're buying a lot of second-hand clothes. One of my second-hand, somebody who sent a lot of containers, he said, anytime our things goes, is the Senegalese and the ECOMIC soldiers just come and buy everything, just like that. So anybody will be jealous. If Gambians are in like that situation in Senegal, in their state house, there will have been a crime by now. There have been fighting in that country. But we're not calling for that.
Let me just make this clear.
Go ahead, but
if a new government have come in today and they ask my opinion, I'll tell them to ask for extension of 6 months minimum to make sure a proper assessment is done and any risk is dealt with, and it's possible even to do in 3 months. But you just make sure you have that 6 months period. The last 3 months would be the withdrawal phase. You see, what happened to the forces in Afghanistan? You don't want that to happen to you. I'm not saying that we are going to fight, but you will have a withdrawal phase. Within 3 months, and no foreign troops should be at the State House. The president should be comfortable enough. A good team could have can take out that risk and do a proper vetting and everything else. And look, we have to understand security. It's not about the physical security alone.
Yes,
it's about governance. If you have an effective governance, no soldier is stupid to start anything. The soldiers only get up when they are given an excuse. I'm not going to use the word reason, because I cannot support any form of uprising from the military. That's why I said don't give them the excuse to use as a reason to take over power. I am not damning the presence of. What I'm saying is we could have dealt with. But right now, look, I can give you an assessment as much as I want, but certain things, if you are not privy to inside, there's certain details you will not have. But there's so much out there that we talk to sailors, we know that some of these things can be dealt with. And within 3 months, and will be fixed.
Yes, it will be, Bob. And we need to move on here, Mr. Ben. I think you have another thing that we said and I'm going to put that question to you. President Sall and President Barrow's personal relationship serving the strategic interests of Senegal. The strategic interests of Senegal. You dealt with the clandestine trip to Congo, the fisheries license awarded to Senegal, the power purchase, Gambia relying on Senegalese telecom, the closure of Banjul breweries, and on and on and on. The Gambia grant 100 million concession deal to Senegalese company, and on and on and on. Give us a postmortem to what your argument is. Why do you think this is the case?
Thank you. I'll say this again. If anyone said that it's not to Senegalese, look, Senegal would prefer a puppet in the Gambia. I'll tell you that. They will not tell you that. I will tell you that. And there are certain things I cannot talk about, it's of security nature. But during the struggle, you think if Senegal's really wanted Jammeh out, they will not get him out? I mean,
Yes.
we are privy to a lot of things that happen.
Mhm.
You see, nobody look after your interest more than you do. Even your parents cannot do that. If you
No.
don't look after your interest, nobody else can do.
Definitely.
Now, what is happening here, and I have to clarify that the byproduct of it, Senegal would benefit. First, people who are directly benefiting are not doing it on behalf of Senegal. They're doing it as Senegalese national. These are businessmen who are supporting Macky Sall candidature. They are friends of Macky Sall. The minute Barrow went to Senegal, technically they took him as a hostage. Now his security and everything is within Senegal. Now they started to introduce these so-called influential business people. Now they started to break deals, in fact, before Barrow took over power. Now, most of these business people are not directly, they're doing it to make wealth for themselves. But if I make wealth in the United Kingdom and return to Gambia, would I not benefit Gambia?
Yes, you will.
Our footballers, are they not representing Gambia? The diaspora are not benefiting Gambia?
Yes.
Yes. But we are here for ourselves and our family. But by extension, it's to our economy. These people are acting on their own interests, but it will end up benefiting Senegal. And now, we can see, as I presented facts there, this is not assumption or anything, they are facts. And I'll point to them. First, the Nawak deal. How did it go? I'm not saying it's good or bad, but we have seen the speed they went on to do that deal. And most people will tell you that, yeah, what they're selling us, the market rate is good. But if you assess most of the area being supplied, they cannot consume the electricity, they cannot pay for it. Is it to our national interest? No. But it's to Senegal's national interest. Do you know why? This is excess power they have generated.
Yes.
If they don't distribute it, what happens? They
Yes.
lose.
They lose it. Yeah.
Now, they created market because of this. Now, if I know that you have excess power, I could even bargain to not to have it at international market to say no. The places you're taking it to, there are no industries.
No.
There are rural places. I don't have industry, I don't have this. If I am to provide electricity there, I can only provide it for this. The economic the economics deductions here is this is the price that it should be going to, but we don't have that. What about the fisheries? First thing the parliament passed was the fisheries agreement. Ibrahim, does it make sense? We share the same water borders.
Yes.
You have more than me. Why should I give you license to fish in my waters? Why? What benefit does it have to me? And recently we have seen Gambian fishermen that went into Senegal's waters, they've been arrested and prosecuted. You see, now who interest was that? Senegal. Now, what happened with Dulbro? That's even criminal. That's economic sabotage. The Gambia government overtaxed Dulbro 75%. I am not an accountant, I'm not an economics, but I have common sense. If you tax any business 75%, that business is going to collapse.
It will collapse, yes.
What government do? They give incentive to industries to prosper. Because of the government get benefits from employment and exports and balance of to help the import to balance their importation. But in this case, you kill it off for just the same brand, because of there's a parent company, there's a company, the same brand, which 40 years, because remember, this was a brand developed in the Gambia, the Jul Brew. It went and won gold award. Whether we drink alcohol or not does not matter. What matters here, we are still selling alcohol in the Gambia. And this achieved a gold award. It was known, and the reason we had the Jul Brew, it was to help our tourists, stimulate our tourist industry as well. If you know how much profit, businesses, hotels and this make from drinks, you'll be surprised. They don't make that much profit in rooms.
No.
Yeah. Now, why do you kill off that industry? And for that industry, the next day to start exporting the same, but even lesser. Now they sell exporting lesser quantity for more, and Gambians are paying for more. Now, where are the jobs created now in Senegal? The jobs are not created in the Gambia. Now, the Senegalese tourist industry would be more attractive because they can sell cheaper beverage than the Gambia. It's going to affect us. And we said this before the closure, but the government just persists. It was intentional. Whose interest was it? Senegal. What have we benefited? Ibrahim, another thing, the 100 million hotel.
Yes.
How did that came about? We didn't even know about this. Turn around and he's given. And you know this the person responsible, the guy have a bad track record in Senegal itself. He's a friend of Macky, and the Senegalese National Audit have hold him accountable for not supplying computers and other IT things that he was meant to supply to government. And that contract was given to him because he's a sponsor of Macky's campaign. And in Gambia here, we thought he was facilitated to take that contract. I know the contract is not going nowhere because he doesn't even have the capacity. But what we did was to give him the opportunity. Had that opportunity been given to TAF?
Definitely.
And that opportunity can be given to Gambian companies coming together from a consortium? That's how we develop a country.
Definitely.
But even Gambians didn't know about this. And I tell you that I know from different sources that TAF and the Turkish company were in consortium to build this hotel, or a hotel for the OIC. They could not win the bid. You see, this is all for Senegal's interest. But what I'm saying here, we have to be very careful when we deal with the Senegalese issue. Macky Sall have lost the moral compass. Macky Sall is acting criminally in Senegal now with these people like that. And now he is putting the Senegalese citizens inside the Gambia at risk. Because all these things these people are doing, they're not doing it for the Senegalese government directly. They're doing it for themselves. And now, what do we find out? Gambian corrupt ministers, corrupt MDs, and everybody are moving to Senegal, buying properties, buying businesses. They are encouraged because of the relationship that Macky Sall have with Barrow. This is the fact. This is the fact. But what I want to tell Gambians is, end of the day, all this can only happen because of we allow it.
Yes.
We allow it. These are the reasons why we need to have a government that's responsible. Have a government that will be effective in order to measure up and deal with Senegal on that level, so that our mutual interests will be respected.
Definitely.
Our mutual interests would be played for.
That's the whole purpose of us being independent, and we have to guard our sovereignty. And
I want to come on to the point of what the ambassador said that Senegal rescue us.
Go on.
This is the problem we have, because we have not sold our story. Yes, Senegal played a part in rescuing the situation. But Gambians rescued themselves.
Yes.
Gambians went to the level of taking Jammeh out by the vote. If Senegal did not intervene, or ECOMIC did not intervene, and why are we giving credit? I'm not taking the credit for Senegal for intervening, because part of my strategy, or our strategy, was always trying to get Senegal, because we know that they are natural allies. In anything we do, we factor Senegal support. But if we did not, as Gambians, brought it to where it was, Senegal would have never intervened.
No.
Then, yes, we respect and we appreciate the role they play, but that's not reduce us to be beggars. does not reduce us to be held hostage. Gambians would have to remember that. And again, this is another reason for Gambians to think of, why can't we sustain ourselves? And because if other countries are looking at us that without us you can't, that's a shame.
Yeah, it is the same. I think that is very condescending, by the ambassador. He spoke in quotes, but to tell us that we forget easily because Senegal rescue us, that is an insult to Gambia. And Omaru Biayi says the presence of Senegalese troops in the country is a massive concern. And it's important to have our troops take care of our internal security activities. Mary Williams Charm says Barrow failed the motherland, Gambia, and he says the Barrow definitely must go. But interesting here, Ben Ablai Jallo or Abdu Jallo say, Ben, Julbru left because of the size of the market. The size of the market, what are you talking about?
No, 75%.
For 40 years, anyway, you can come, you will respond to that. He said, Ben, the hotel will not happen because of economic rationality. So yeah, but Omar Ubiyai says Senegalese government is hosting many criminals with money, and so on and so on. Omaru says taxing Julbru 75% is completely, utterly madness, and would thought that Julbru is a national treasure for the population. So Ben, respond to Mr. Jallo, and probably you can close up there anyway, and when I'll give you time to. Yes, go ahead.
Two things here. One, it's a fact that Julbru was. This is we Google it. It's out there. It's a fact that the Mambure Njai imposed a 75% tax on Julbru. And tell me any business that can survive a 75% tax.
It would no business. No
business.
No.
One. Two, about what the hotels will not be doing well. Yes, COVID, that is, but before COVID, in fact, we have not run our tourism industry well. We dropped the ball. From Jammeh, we dropped the ball. We came, obviously, Ahmad did not do a good job. We all know that. But that does not mean that tourism would have to die. That's why we need innovative governance. There's a lot can be done to sustain. It's about sustaining and to rescue and to build. But have this government come out with a plan?
No.
For the hotel industry?
Not at all. No.
Now, one reason of that, it was they could have come with a vaccine program to say that people working from the front line of the hospitality industry have to be vaccinated. Now, that can be a selling point to say that, look, our tourism environment is this thing, because our taxi drivers, our hoteliers, our restaurateurs, and our waiters, and everybody else dealing with is 95% vaccinated. You have to have a strategy, but you cannot have something like now going on. You cannot have the crime rate increasing. You cannot have all these things and you have not done anything to promote tourism. What about the program they have for rural things? Did it not fail?
Yes, it does fail. Yeah,
because the money. This is the failure. He cannot say that the hotel was not sustainable. He's not arguing on facts.
No,
he's not arguing on facts.
Yeah, definitely, Ben. And I plan to talk about the hard power diplomacy. France and Senegal is an interesting analysis there, but definitely we cannot go beyond this.
No.
We are going to let you some of your last words to the Gambians, especially this pre-election time. And then we are going to wrap it from there. Thank you.
Ibrahim, I want to do a short analysis on the presence of Senegalese forces in the Gambia.
Go ahead.
I had an audio. Someone make it ridiculous claims, saying that he got information that all Senegalese troops coming would be manning polling stations, would be doing this and that. Look, the reason for the people say they are replacing is a routine tour of duty, replacing. People say it's an increase. Let me tell you that. That should not worry Gambians.
Mhm.
And I'm going to put this on facts. Senegalese strategic interest is for peace and stability in the Gambia. And I'll give you the reasons why.
Mhm.
And obviously, Senegal would back a winner.
Yes.
Senegal would back a winner.
Mhm.
And if Senegal would sell Barrow, they will sell Barrow. They don't care. They look, the relationship with Senegal, Barrow and Barrow, this is no special.
Yes.
And I'll give people the example of UK and America. How many times did they sell each other, sold each other for their national interest? Now, one Gambia, even in the days of Yahya Jammeh, polling stations have never been manned by soldiers.
No. No.
Now, what would rationalize any IEC? Remember, at that day, IEC is the king. Nobody can force to send troops to the polling station. Even Gambian soldiers would not be allowed at polling stations. Even armed police would not be allowed at polling stations because we don't have that environment.
Mhm.
Now, you think then we will allow Senegalese troops our polling stations? That's a
No.
fabrication.
No.
Then elections will not happen. And do you think that Senegal will want to be blamed for stopping democracy in the Gambia?
No. No. They won't.
You remember we're going to have international observers? Remember we have we have the UN and other team already on the ground? You think Senegal would want to be seen sending their troops at the police stations?
No.
One, let's take that out. What would have to make Senegal to send troops outside in the streets? Why? What situation? What would that do? Senegal would not want that to be happen. Do you know why they would not want that to happen? If Senegalese troops go into the streets, what would Gambian soldiers feel?
Mhm.
Because look, you have to do a risk assessment.
Yes.
You have a contingency plan. You have to do a risk assessment. Then that's where you put your operations. You think Senegal would looking into sending troops into the street of Banjul, Sarakunda, Birkama?
No.
One, because of the way the international community will see it.
Mhm.
Two, ECOWAS as it is, cannot justify this.
No.
And Gambian leadership, politicians, this will bring all the political leaders together then. Because tell me which opposition leader, genuine, I'm not saying this funny opposition leaders, which opposition leader would support troops be put on the streets? Yahya Jammeh did not even do that.
No. No.
Who would allow that? Three, you think Senegal would risk having citizens of 500,000 in that country to start an unrest?
No. No.
What would happen to their citizens?
Exactly.
You think Senegal would not think about that?
No.
That's why I'm saying that, look, if Yahya Jammeh cannot intimidate us 2016, nobody can intimidate us 2016. We should be careful what message we carry. You see, intelligence here, what do we do at times? And most of the time, in fact, if I want something to be effective now, let's say in Gunjur,
Mhm.
I would not say it. I'll make sure people of Gunjur to say it. How would I do that? I'll find a way to do that, a strategy to do that, for it to come out from Gunjur. It will be more believable than me, who is not from Gunjur, to say it, or me, who is perceived to have an interest, to say it. But you, that Gunjurian, who would have an interest of stability, interest of your Gunjur community, if you start saying certain things, Gunjur people will believe it.
Yes.
But if they see me as an enemy or someone who is against them, to say certain things would not be believable.
Mhm.
Now then, if we are in the opposition, we should be careful. Let us not give the power to Barrow that they didn't have. Let us not give power to the security services we didn't have. The people have the power. And this is why Yahya Jammeh left. Look, the day Yahya Jammeh conceded, it was not the threat of the international community.
No.
You see, again, I want Gambians to understand this. There are a lot of things that happen behind the scenes. And I want Gambians to take credit for that. Gambians, I mean. That night, Yaya Jammeh wanted to squash the ballot. People will remember counting stop. There are a lot of maneuvering that was going behind the scenes. Some of this, and you see, again, that's why when some of us talk about the armed forces, we know some people resisted that night to take part in anything. Yaya Jammeh lost the armed forces before then. Because the minute we came together, it will help us to operate and marginalize Jammeh from the armed forces. That's why Jammeh could not have operated against the will of the people. You see, and Gambians should remember something. It went up to the morning. Jammeh did not concede. And next minute, we saw a tax force sent to the TV station, and this interim minister was part of the tax force to calm people down to say that, let us listen. Jammeh was managing the situation. Jammeh knew that if he did not concede that night or that day, what would happen? He would have gone that day. It might not be pleasant. We didn't want it that way. That's why we hold onto our patience to make sure we have it the way it should be. But the international community came and helped on that. Remember, election disputes have happened in many West African countries. Why didn't they go there and take it out? Let us not underestimate our will, our strength as a sovereign nation. That is what Barrow is doing. Barrow doesn't care. Barrow doesn't care economic to stay forever. Barrow doesn't care what happens to the future of the country. Everything is care of that he is safe, because he is only safe if he's at State House. I emphasize again, Gambians should never think of any violent way of doing anything. It does not serve our purpose. Barrow would be airlifted, I'll tell you, if any tensions happens. And maybe, I'm not saying I know. Part of my understanding, this is what contingency planning means. You prepare for scenarios. Scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3. What if, they will say that what if elections become, violent? What if a dispute happen? What are we going to do? Senegalese, because Senegal formed the backbone of the economic in the Gambia, and that's for logical reasons, because we have more in common and they are next door. They will think of, we will need extra troops so that we can secure locations to avoid the army taking over. Then we get the politicians and civil servants to sort it out. And in order to do that, we need extra troops to do part A, B, and C. Now, part of that would be we will need to extract the president out. Because in that way, once the president leaves, then we can settle this thing, but we need extra security to do that. I'm saying this might be 2 reasons. 3, it's the same thing again. We don't want dispute to happen, and what happened in Mali to happen? The army to come out. They are there for the army. They are not there for civilian population. For me, I cannot see any logical reason to say that Senegal would send troops for Gambian people. No. Let us be reasonable. And you see, what the Barrow camp wants is to make us believe that the people who are nationalistic hate Senegal. It's a lie. My father's younger brother is Senegalese. He was one of the first to be sent at the Gambia in colonial days in the 60s at the Gambia Senegal Secretariat in Banjul. And he was a Senegalese diplomat. And every other Gambian can tell you that. They have family members.
Yeah, Ben, my aunt is in Kaula, and have cousins, who are.
You think the Gambian Murids? The Gambian Murids are what Senegalese Murids. You think the strength of the Tijanias? You see, what we have in common is far more than what government can control. You think we have any interest? We should not allow people to come out with these theories, conspiracies. We should be aware, though, As a nation, we have our interest to protect. But let us not exaggerate things that have not happened or that are not logical. I am talking based on logical here. I don't know the tomorrow. I'm not talking logically here and my experience and expertise in security. I cannot see that happen. And I know if it happens, what it will mean for Senegal, and I don't think Senegal will do anything to affect their national interest.
No, they will not ban.
And I'll tell you how government operates. If Senegal identify any person prominent in the Gambia, Senegal would be watching that person. Any person of interest or influence, Senegal knows about them, and they will reach out. And especially if the person is likely to form government or to be a kingmaker, they will reach out to them. They will not tell us. That's how we work, operate, how government operates. That's how government operates.
Then you talk of kingmaker. I'm going to talk about the new blue eye boy in the game, Esafal. Good for the country or not? But we don't have time. And we have to
schedule for another day. Yeah.
Yes, we're going to do that next day because I plan to talk about Guinea-Bissau, the Mamadi Doumbouya's case, and Guinea-Conakry, and how that will impact on Gambia and the lessons we can learn from them. But definitely we don't have time. I think we will come back here. You can talk about those things anyway. Can you please give us your final words, Mr. Suwareh, and we will close the program from there.
Thank you very much. Again, what I want to emphasize on is our relationship as Gambians. The politics that we have, it's part of what we have to engage through in order to determine our future. Then we are not enemies. We might have different views, and let us be careful. A month is a long time in politics. Some of the things that you say about a person of another party, especially the way our elections are, you'll be surprised that your party executive are talking. Some of these things we don't know because we are not part of the executive. But everybody might be reaching at everybody. That's no point. That's one. Politically, it's suicidal even to be trashing to a certain level, especially within the opposition. Two is it's about Gambia. We are all one family. When we talk about APRC, we talk about APRC as an institution. It's something that we detest, what they stood for. And yes, just as the IRA and anywhere else, when you have a political arm, you have a military arm, they are together. Just as the Basque separatists and other places. And people that say that, oh, but the APRC were not the one committing the crime. Look, they were the voice for reasoning and they represented politically. They should be held responsible, especially if they don't come and they are still holding on to that belief that nothing has happened, everything was right. That's the problem we have. But we should not have problem with the people who hold APRC support or sympathizers. We should reach out to them. And Yahya Jammeh become history, part of where we move forward. And when we talk about justice, it's about going through the rule of law. It's not about revenge. That's to our interest. If you promote impunity, you are destabilizing your country. Where there's no justice, there's going to be peace. Where impunity is promoted, what will happen? People will not learn lessons. Just as in 1981, people were put into the courts. It was very difficult for many families. But some people served their time and came out better. And this justice is even good for the perpetrators of crime. It might help them to move on from there on. And let us be very careful what we say and do on social media. The insults, the issues about tribe and pluralization, we don't need that. We have enough issues to talk about. These are the issues that Barrow doesn't want us to talk about. Barrow is going around in so-called mid-farmer store, whatever, but he's not talking about anything, but apart from trying to divide us further. That's what Ahmad Ba is doing. They are trying to deceive the people about the problems, about the cost of living and everything, trying to blame global disease. No. most part of it is their their incompetence. It's corruption. They don't know they're not suffering, are they? Because of their corrupt. They become wealthy out of this government. How comes? These are the issues we should talk about. We have enough to deal with. We can compete and not be enemies. And that's what democracy is. And whoever came out. And the good thing would be to have change. And what that change should do is to bring about transformation. What change first? It's going to be important. Gambians should get used to change, to know that the word incumbency doesn't mean anything that the abuse of people. Incumbency means that the people put you there and the people can take you out. That's what the incumbency should mean. You don't have any other power apart from the power vested on you. Thank you very much, Ibrahim.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you to all our listeners all over the place, the world over. Their fantastic analysis, really, really speaking, very educative and entertaining. And I hope we can glean some informations there, especially unity, especially not insulting each other, and know that we are all one in the Gambia. What we need to do is we might disagree, but let's not fight, let's not insult, let's not burn that country. Let's know we are all family. Thank you all to all of you. Thank you, our boss, Lamin Jammeh, behind the scene. Thank you, Abu Bakar, on behalf of Gunjur Online. And thank you. Until tomorrow, we have Imam Sidi Ali Jana here. And might be Friday, we will have Taf Njai to talk about the tough city, in Gunjur. Thank you so much all. Thank you, Sal. And thank you, Amaru. And thank you, everybody that are in the program and those whose names I didn't call yet. Thank you so much. Thanks.